I'm listening to the story of Spam on YouTube. I'm kind of glad I'm not eating Spam, though, to be honest, because this morning, because I grew up on it and I don't really care for it. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to cook up these green and yellow tomatoes, these green and red tomatoes, and some potatoes and carrots I have left over from the other day, and a little bit of canned ham I have left. I'll cube that up, and I'll put it in the pot here with my extra virgin olive oil. This is from before she met Popeye. Any of you who remember the old Popeye cartoons will get that. There's Rocky. He's pretty happy. Actually, talking about Spam, it kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, because I did grow up on it, and I also grew up on wieners and bologna. We used to get the big roll of bologna and cut it into pieces, into hunks, and fry it. And that was another thing. I don't really like any of that meat now because I had too much of it when I was a kid, you know. But some of the things I remember, though, from when I was a kid, my dad had quite the sense of humor. And I guess you could call this poor people humor anyway, and I kind of look back on it fondly now as I remember it anyway. My dad's been gone since I was 20, and I'm 54 now, so... Anyway, we had our ups and downs, but he was a pretty good guy. Mostly he was a pretty good guy, my dad, you know. And anyway, I remember we used to buy these wieners. They were called Mary Miles wieners, and they were really cheap, and they weren't all that good, really. They were kind of gross. And they had a picture of a little girl on the box, a little blonde-haired girl with her hair up in ribbons. Mary Miles wieners. And my dad used to say that we ate miles and miles of wieners. That was one of his jokes that kind of, I guess, lightened things up a bit for us, you know. And another thing we used to do, and we did this practically every night, when I was like 3 and 4 years old, there was a kind of a running joke between myself and my dad, because we never had dessert. We'd see people on TV having dessert, but we never had dessert. Unless it was somebody's birthday or something like that, then we'd have dessert. But otherwise we didn't. It was only for special occasions. And I'd say to my dad, I'd say, "What's for dessert?" And he'd respond, "Air pudding with wind sauce and a big glass of balloon juice to wash it down." And then we'd both have a good laugh anyway, and I remember that. That was a little joke between me and my dad when I was small. Just watching that story of Spam reminded me of all that anyway. So I don't like the stuff, but I do have some funny memories of my dad around that stuff anyway, around that kind of food. And it's kind of neat to be able to look back and remember things that happened 50 years ago and just chuckle a little bit and remember your dad in a good way, you know. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to cook breakfast. We're watching for a bear. We do have a bear in the area, and it's a little bit of a concern. I'm a little worried about it. So we're watching for a bear, but hopefully we won't have any problems. And if we do, we'll deal with it as it comes, just like we do everything. Me and Rocky get by pretty well. Anyway, I hope you all have a good day. I'll talk